Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy this video, we invite those of you who haven't yet done so, to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification icon, to be notified when the next one is uploaded. We'd also like to urge those of you who haven't yet done so, to sign our online petition for an inquiry into the BBC and Channel 4's coverage of Lewis Hamilton and Abu Dhabi, which we have amended to include Gary Lineker's sacking by the BBC. A link has been provided in the description. If you are on X, then please repost our tweet. Thank you. We'd also like to shout out our colleague James Atkins of Fixed and wish him all the best in the struggle to speak truth to power. Don't let them grind you down, brother. Our regulars know where we stand on Max Verstappen, so we won't waste any time with the intro for this video. Halfway into the title defense that if successful would have made him only the second driver to win 5 in a row, Max is already out of the title race. He publicly conceded the title after just 4 races, but the lamestream media downplayed or gaslighted that shocking concession as best they could. But halfway into the season, there are so many damning stats that show not only how bad Max is as a driver, but also how hard F1 has worked to gaslight his appalling record. So, could Christian Horner possibly have been sacked to divert attention from how badly Max is performing? We aren't fans of anyone in Red Bull, and his sacking, which has been long overdue, confirms that they are imploding just as we said they would. But what we want to make clear is that Max's performance stats this season, shorn of some of the protection that he has been receiving to help undermine Sir Lewis, debunk any suggestion that he is a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent. We will address Horner's departure in fuller detail in a subsequent video. But for now we restate for the record that F1 are committed to manipulating results, and they have perfected a system for doing so. They simply grant their preferred teams technological advantages by skewing their interpretation of the regulations, and then revise the rules as they see fit during the season. But critically, that team cannot have Lewis Hamilton in it. This is why Toto worked so hard to ingratiate himself with F1 and push Sir Lewis out. When Red Bull were the favored team, they chose to restrict their second drivers so that Max could maximize the advantage, but McLaren have chosen to allow their drivers to race each other. This accounts for why Max ran away with 1 stolen and 3 manipulated consecutive titles. In order to recover from how damaging the Verstappen era has been to F1, they have elevated McLaren and had the team chosen to favor 1 driver, then he would have built up an unassailable lead by now. It would appear from pre-season predictions by their official gaslighter Martin Brundle that F1's master plan was for a 3-way title race between Max and the 2 McLaren drivers, but he has fluffed his lines so badly that he is already out of the race. This is what happens when you fall for your own hype. Max's performance stats this season have been so bad that they make a mockery of all the stats that they've helped him to fake, but you can't tell how badly he has been performing from the lamestream media coverage, so we will present them here for you. Sacking Christian Horner cannot hide how bad Max is, but it hopefully will expedite the exposure of the cover-up. We have repeatedly asserted that his stats are so outrageous as to suggest rigging, and now we can show you, based on how badly he has performed this season. One of his more outrageous stats amongst the plethora he accumulated in 2023 was a 100% pole-to-win conversion rate, as he converted every one of his 12 poles to race wins. This unique feat in F1 history screamed rigging to an unbiased observer, but F1 attempted the audacious gaslighting of putting it down to Max's skill set. But here's the thing, a review of his pole-to-race wins stats since 2021 exposes the manipulation, as we will show you. To put things into perspective, in 2021, he converted 6 of his 10 poles into race wins while Sir Lewis converted 3 of his 5. Both drivers therefore had a 60% conversion rate, but critically, Sir Lewis was able to win 3 races in which Verstappen had claimed pole position, namely Bahrain, Silverstone and Abu Dhabi. While Max did not win any races where Hamilton started from pole. So, It is possible to deduce that while Max had the faster car, Sir Lewis had the better racecraft. In 2022, Charles had the most pole positions with 9, but a combination of poor team strategy, operational mistakes, engine reliability and driver error cost him and Ferrari dearly, and he could only convert 2 to race wins, leaving him with a 22% conversion rate. Max, with 7 pole positions and a 35% conversion rate despite having the fastest car, was able to capitalize on the Ferrari issues and run away with the title with 15 victories. However, the hike to an unprecedented high of 100% in 2023, after dropping to a low of 35% the previous year, is just ridiculously insulting. There had been nothing in F1 history to suggest that this was a plausible target for any driver, and it appears to be more of an unintended consequence of a desperate effort by F1 to prevent a repeat of 2022, and put some clear blue water between Ferrari and Red Bull. Now, 2024 was a pivotal year, because that was when the FIA took away some of Red Bull's technological advantage and started favoring McLaren instead. And as we have stated repeatedly in previous videos, this was McLaren's reward for leading the gaslighting of 2021, and this is what Toto is hoping for by toadying up to F1. Last year, Lando, F1 and McLaren's preferred driver, had a low 37.5% conversion rate as he could only convert 3 of his 8 poles to race wins, while Max, with the same number of poles, had a 62.5% conversion rate because he secured 5 victories. We have produced several videos detailing how Lando has the worst performance record starting from pole ever in F1 history. How he routinely lost his pole position on the very first lap, and it wasn't until last year that he secured his first 3 lights to flag victory. One was in the last race in Abu Dhabi, after Max had won the title several races ago, and in another instance, he recovered from losing the lead. So, Lando's record on pole is the worst ever. How then can you explain what has happened so far this season with the complete switcheroo between Max and him, with the former record holder having a 25% conversion rate despite securing the most poles, and the worst ever having a 100% conversion rate with 1 less pole? How did the table-topping record holder swap places with the worst ever record holder? Well, Lando couldn't get any worse. For him the only way he could go was up. However, the most credible explanation for Max's astonishing drop in performance is that he had been propped up. In 2021 and 2022, he had the fastest car but couldn't deliver without the FIA being forced to intervene on track, so in 2023, they gave him a bigger advantage off track, so he could run away unchallenged on track. But in 2025, once they put McLaren in play, his performance stats have dropped dramatically to 25% by mid-season, as he has crumbled under the pressure of engaging in close-quarter racing. It's one thing to scupper into the distance knowing your car is much faster than everybody else's and the umpire is in your corner. It's quite another having to go up against others when the umpire's cover has been reduced, and you have to do some racing. To appreciate how badly Max has dropped the ball, he is falling back in 3rd place on the table with 165 points while Lando is on 226 and Oscar leads with 234. Now, if Max had converted all of his pole starts to race wins, he would be on 200 points with the McLaren drivers on 216 and 217 respectively, thus setting up the 3-way title race that F1 had intended when they boosted the 2 teams. Better still, if Max had not lost his head when running in 5th in Spain, he would be even closer on 209 points. The records clearly show that Max cannot race, and every time he has been challenged, he has crumbled, and is getting progressively worse. In Jeddah, he finished 2nd, because he lost his head after Oscar beat him into the first corner. He thought he could get away with the crap he used to get away with when they were using him against Sir Lewis, but ended up with a token penalty that cost him the race, despite having the fastest car. Things got worse in Miami when the 2 McLarens overtook him on track, and each time, he locked his wheels as he outbraked himself, with the ensuing tire damage costing him dearly as he ended up in 4th position. Outbraking himself is something we have seen him do repeatedly against Sir Lewis, Charles, and almost any driver that challenged him. He showed his frailties again at Silverstone, as he went sliding off track every time he was challenged by the McLarens, and finished even lower still in 5th. So, there you have it folks, the facade of being a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent is falling apart before our very eyes, and not even Christian's sacking can put it together again. If anyone comes across a lamestream media content reporting on these obvious stats, please let us know. Also, does anyone think Oscar's unconscionably harsh penalty was to avoid giving Max a penalty that would have completely put him out of the title race, or was it to nobble Oscar and keep Lando in play? Let's hope Ferrari continue to make good progress. Forza Ferrari.